Hey, what's up, friends? Avram and Nikki here. Welcome to our weekly Team Have It All Hangout.
Hello.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. You know that. Unless you're like us and we live in a weird little world where the days don't really register.
Sometimes they don't. And when it's cold, especially, I don't know, I just feel like a bit of a hibernation thing going on.
It's true. So tonight we want to do something, we do every once in a while, just kind of open things up and do a sort of Q&A with you guys. A couple of the topics that we love talking about: money, marketing, and mindset.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the stuff that we talk about all the time. It's funny that really the quality of the conversations that Nikki and I are having with each other all the time tend to be the things that we most easily manifest and create in our lives, right? So like before we ever started making money on the internet, we were talking about how we were going to make money on the internet. We were talking about all the cool things that we get to do now. We were talking about finally having a dog, right? And we've got our little French Bulldog puppy, Zeus, here. He might make an appearance later tonight, but we're just getting started here. So I want to know who's here. Comment below. Let us know what's up. And if you have any sort of questions that you want to ask Nikki and I, related to any of those three topics, or maybe even something that you desperately want to know about us, feel free to comment below and ask us any sort of questions. I think we'll probably just start by sort of telling some stories, giving you some insights that we've learned and picked up from our day-to-day life that we can share with you in hopes that it might inspire something different for you in your life. So this weekend, something really cool happened, and actually had a sort of a coaching session today with a new member that we had joining our business on the internet, wanting to learn the skill sets of blogging and creating content and how you leverage the internet to do that. And the cool part about this conversation when I was asking this gentleman, like, where did you find Nikki and I? Like, what was it that drew you to us? And how'd you get started with us? Like, here's the thing. We haven't sent any emails out to our business in about a week and a half. We were sort of tied up for like 3 or 4 days with family being in from out of town. And we haven't really been marketing our business heavily and hands-on in the last few days. And yet, we still had new people joining our business, like this gentleman who I had a conversation with today. So I asked him, I said, how did you find our business? How is it that you decided to get started with us in and wanting to make money on the internet? I really wish I could disable, I thought I was getting text messages on my computer, and that really just bugged me. But that's not what it is. So having this conversation, and he told me on the phone that he had found a video of Nikki and I that we posted about 2 weeks ago about law of attraction and how we use law of attraction to create more luck in our lives, experience the luckiest week of our entire lives, going to Orlando, getting free upgrades on the car rental to an SUV, getting free upgrades to a huge, massive suite at our hotel, and then getting the #1 prize in a raffle, which is the MacBook Pro that we're doing this webcast on right now. So we did this video about law of attraction, how we used it and used quantum physics and stuff to create amazing results in our business, or in this weekend. And he found this video through Google search, right? And he's somebody, shout out to Caesar, one of our newest members here on our team. He's into a lot of the same stuff that we're into, which is, consciousness and personal development and developing your awareness. And he was on the internet looking, I don't know exactly what he was searching, maybe it was law of attraction or something else, but searching for information to grow his mind, grow his awareness, and grow his consciousness, and he found our video. And not only did he find our video, he then decided to join our business through a video that had nothing to do with making money on the internet.
Yeah. And I think what's really cool about that, Avram, is that, well, everything you just said, but we weren't actually like thinking about how can we make this video that's going to get somebody to sign up with our business.
Yeah, not at all.
And it was one of the longest, if not the longest video that we've ever made together. It was like 17 minutes. 17
minutes, yeah.
50 seconds, so almost 18 minutes. And, it was one of those things where we just felt really called to share it. And we felt we're like, I know this is going to make an impact for somebody. And we didn't know how. And it's already made an impact on a lot of people. I mean, there are people who are like, oh, I won a raffle you know, after applying some of the stuff that you know, all these like cool things. And I just, we just left it at that. Like, oh, how cool is that? You know? And, you know, it's just really interesting and fascinating and really cool that someone actually joined our business and signed up on that video, where not only was it not a topic that was directly about our business, but we weren't actually intending for it to be so. Because I think sometimes when you're like, well, what video can I make to get a sign up? I think sometimes you need to be asking those questions, but if that's all that you're creating, people will feel like you always have this agenda, you know, versus like, I'm just going to provide massive value. You know, you attract people that like want to pull out their credit card and pay you, you know? So I just wanted to share that too.
Yeah, well, thank you. You know, it's, I like what you said, because no matter what kind of business you're building, whether it's your first time doing like something in home business or internet marketing, or you're like where we were just a few years ago as coaches, you got to put out content and videos and blogs and stuff that stick out on the web. They stay there forever, and they're always working for you. And some of them have everything to do with your business, and some of them have absolutely nothing to do with your business. And when you combine those two things together, you attract not only great business, but you attract the right people and customers into your business as well. So I just love the fact that we have the ability to talk about whatever it is that we want and is close to our hearts, which, like we said, is, you know, a couple of things is like money, energy, relationships, consciousness, wealth, entrepreneurship, things like that. And people will still, the right people will still find us and join us and be a part of something that has nothing to do with half of that stuff.
Yeah, it's
you know
really
what I mean?
cool. Well, I just see a comment here that rolled in. Miss Brandi Nicole. Hey, girl, hey. I love Brandi because I think she's one of our. I think she's a star, and a star in the making too. Because she's always putting out really awesome content and inspiring stuff. So, hey, girl, hey. She's like doing great. Avram, and you? How are you doing, Avram?
You know, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's a little cold today, and
winter has come.
Yeah, I made like 5 cinnamon rolls today, you know, out of the package. Like this is not something that I do very often, but when I do it, I enjoy it. She's shaking her head already, and I made all these cinnamon rolls, right? And I was like this close to eating all 5 of them.
Oh my god!
You didn't even know that, did you? I went and had another one for dinner.
Oh no!
I know.
I couldn't deal. I'd get like heartburn or something.
It's that time of the year where it's like it's time for treats, and I'm all about it. But you know, so we're just chilling, and we're gonna be here. You know, whether it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour, it kind of depends on what sort of questions that you guys ask. You know, we got some other stuff that we can always go do if nobody has any questions, but usually we do. So that being said, I think we just saw something else. Just more hey girl, hey guy, hey, you know.
Yeah, Brandi, what about you? I'm just gonna, because you're an active participant right now. Do you have any questions for us? And it could be about the topics. It could be about maybe you want to know some dirt on us or something. You know, you're like, I really want to know this about you and Avram. I'm dying to know. And
there's no question that's like too simple or too complex or like don't feel like there's anything that you can't ask us. The reason we do stuff like this is because sometimes you may not get the chance to ask certain questions in certain environments, right? And this is one of those environments where it's sort of like everything's here. You're free and you're welcome to use us for the time that we're here to get any sort of questions answered.
Take advantage of us. Let's see. I know there's like a little bit of a delay too on the.
Yeah, and it's cool. So I might just like tell another story too.
Yeah. Well, well, even when she wrote "I agree" on something, it was like a minute after you said it. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah. So what else do you want to tell? Well,
I just said I would tell a story, but I wasn't sure if I would actually tell a story because I don't really have one off the top of my head. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this is you get to see us when we don't have any questions, and it's really fun, right? Maybe we could just look beautiful. We could just show you the dog, right?
We could.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should save that as like a reward.
For people that do ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys set a date?
That's so funny. You know, yeah. Thanks for asking that question. It's so funny. I just got like a message from my future mother-in-law about a venue, and everyone's wondering, and it's interesting because I think traditionally, and we're not very traditional, so like we're finding out all this stuff about like this is how people usually do it, and then we're like, does that really work for us? You know? Mm-hmm. So traditionally people pick a date first, and I think the majority of people pick a date first. And I actually, during the last event in Orlando, I had spoken with like 3 or 4 brides. Like, it's so funny when you get engaged, you all of a sudden, like, people who just got married, or, you know, like they're also engaged, like they'll come up to you and tell you their experience of like, oh, by the way, I really recommend doing this or not doing this. And my intuition was like, I don't want to set a date when I don't know the venue. Because if we really know like 2 places, like the, you know, 1 or 2 places, like we really are in love with this is where we want to go, and they don't have the right date, and I've already told everybody the date, now I'm trapped and I have to go look at, you know, someplace else because they don't have the date, versus being like, okay, you don't have that date, well, what else do you got? You know what I mean? So I feel like it gives us more flexibility to not choose a date, and we're more focused on the venue first. Mm-hmm. So that is my answer to the question. We have not set a date, and we're hoping 2015. I think it depends what the nature, like what kind of wedding we're gonna have.
Well, like the funny part is that people are sort of acting as if, you know, it's like you had a conversation, I think, with like your sister or your mom, like the day that we got engaged.
Right.
And they're like already asking, so have you picked a date? Now, the thing that I think is hilarious about that is like, okay, so if getting engaged is supposed to be sort of like a surprise,
right?
Were we supposed to have had like a conversation about what the date would be before
right. Yeah,
I'm asking her to marry me?
Right.
Because when you think about it like that, it just all seems very, very silly. And we were talking about to one of our other, you know, one of my cousins that was in this weekend before last, and she was like, by the way, you're going to get all the questions right now about, so where are you going to do it? How big is it going to be? Who are you going to invite? Like all these questions, right? Which I think are hilarious. And then she goes, when you get married, you know what the next question is?
Oh boy.
Next question is, so when you guys having kids, right? And so I think it's just funny because it's like this reality is sort of just hilarious in terms of the expectations and stuff that people will have about you or about a certain situation.
Now hold on a second. I just want to be clear. I know Brandi's not coming from that place.
No, there's no questions going on right now, so I'm gonna ramble.
No, I know, but I just want her to know.
Oh.
That she asked that question.
Yeah, good point.
I don't want her to think that we're lumping.
No,
I don't want you to think
no.
we're like lumping you in with everybody else that's asking us, because you're like chill and cool, and you're like, oh, I'm just curious. But like, there's people like, have you set a date? When is it gonna be? How big is the venue?
Where is the venue?
And they've got like this weird look on their face, and it's kind of weird. You're like, whoa, you know?
Yeah. So I'm glad you cleared that up. So there's no confusion.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna jump in here again, by the way, and say like this session is completely shaped by you. You get in what you put out, right?
Right.
So Brandi's here and she's like, I want to be entertained, so I'm gonna ask him what I want to ask him.
Yeah, exactly.
She's getting her piece because she's actually participating. Some of y'all are watching and not taking any action, not asking anything. Like if you're somebody you've been wanting to build your business on the internet, and you're not asking a question, you're not earning 6 figures, you're not where you want to be, now's your chance. You're not using it, right? That's a metaphor for the rest of your business, right? Because you're probably sitting and watching your business rather than being in your business and taking action, right? Like the way that you're doing this probably reflects in the rest of your business too. Yeah. You know, maybe you're somebody who's like struggled with money for a long time, and you're wondering like, well, how the F am I going to get out of this weird situation? Well, guess what? We've been there too. You know, like you see people that are having like tons of success. I guarantee you they've been exactly where you are. They've been in similar situations that you've been in. Everybody's got their story. And ultimately, it's the same shit with different costumes.
It's true.
Right? So we all have like our own little story that we can share that will inspire people, right? It's the individual things that occur in your story that might grab somebody's attention that are hearing it for the first time. But ultimately, it's the underlying themes that you're sharing with and expressing in your story that will ultimately have people like really connect with you. And it's all the same themes, right? People love like the story of struggle. They love like the hero's journey. You know, every good Hollywood film, an epic book that's not French, right? And no dissing the French, but French movies and stuff, it's like, let's go walk around the park for like 6 hours and talk about nothing and then have a threesome.
At the end, menage a trois at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the cliche.
That's the cliche.
But it's true. I mean, I've really given the foreign films a chance, and I still like some foreign films. But
true.
If it's a French movie, it has like Amélie. Amélie is probably one of the best French movies.
It's the only one that I can think of.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
to finish that thought,
before we offend the French.
But like just to finish my thought there, you know, it's like we all connect to movies in a similar way because of the way that they're structured.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you always have like the protagonist and the antagonist, right? Good and evil, you know, light and dark. And then you always have like the journey of like the struggle and then the ascension. And then what's going on?
I'm just tapping you.
You're tapping me?
I want to say something.
Go ahead and say something.
Well, I just want to go back to what you said about people not saying anything. And that, you know, here I am on camera. I wonder what goes on for you. Maybe that's something to comment on is like, you know, what does come up for you when you're being called to ask a question, you know, and because here I am on camera. I don't particularly love being on camera. Like I'm not someone that goes, oh my God, take a picture of me. Like I can't wait to be on camera and have my picture taken. I can't wait to speak on stage. When you're in a room full of people, every time I've asked a room who wants to be on stage, almost 100% of people raise their hands. The last room that I asked, it was 100% of the people. And yet, you've got, I don't know about the numbers, but then when you start asking people, okay, now who wants to participate in this way? Or just participate? Then they like suddenly go back in their chair. Some of them start crossing their arms. Now, when I say I'm not like someone that loves to be on camera, I mean, I used to be so shy that for like a year, I would just communicate through whispering. Like literally I would go up to my mom and be like, can I have a sandwich? And I just thought if it would be better to be quiet. And part of that was that my parents actually, I'm first generation here, and they didn't teach me how to speak English. They just taught me their native language. And so my first exposure to English was when I went to kindergarten, and I started speaking to everybody, and nobody understood me. So I became very shy and withdrawn. So for those, maybe there's some people going, well, I just feel shy. And I just want to say, okay, I know what that's like. And if you're going to be successful in this kind of business, you need to overcome that. You need to move past that. And you need to focus on what is the difference that I really want to make, and just focus on that. You know, what are my real core values? What do I really want to accomplish? What are my desires? And I know for me, I want to make an impact on as many people as possible and scale myself, because I've done one-on-one healings, one-on-one coaching sessions, and I love that kind of intimate work. And at the same time, I'm like, it's not fast enough for me for the vibrational change that I want to make and the impact on, you know, planetary consciousness that I want to make. So that means I need to get my ass on stage and just get over it and just get over myself. And here we are. I mean, you ain't even on the spot as much as we are. You know, you can have a pimple on your face.
You could be naked.
You could be naked. You know what I'm saying? And all you got to do is you just type something in. That's going to help move you forward or your business forward. So I'm just keeping it real. If you have an issue doing that, acknowledge it. And if you don't move past that, I don't see how you could really be like
successful in anything.
Yeah, because I bet you're probably that person that is maybe afraid of confrontation too, and afraid of saying what you really want to the people, to communicate what you really want and ask for what you want to your lover, to your friends, So I'm calling you forth right now to just take just a baby step, and ask a question down below.
Mm-hmm.
So Brandi Nicole writes about the whole our wedding date. She goes, that makes total sense. It'll happen in time. I just wanted to piggyback on your guys' comment about creating content all the time. And lately I've been creating videos / vlogs that aren't really about anything, just more following my life. And I noticed that I'm having more fun making videos. Cool. Yeah. And when you look at it from like an abundance money standpoint is, money does follow fun, you know what I mean? And if you're having fun, that raises your vibration and it raises like the magnetic quality of your video. That's why we created that video, that law of attraction video was 18 minutes long because we were so passionate about what we were talking about and excited about it. It was very hard to keep it short. In fact, we had recorded a longer version.
And the camera like cut off and fill up the memory cards.
And it was like 25 minutes and we're like, we gotta cut this down. No, I don't recommend making an 18-minute long video unless you have credibility and authority already. Like you don't want to be sitting there making 18-minute videos, and also because of your time and your day. But it was kind of like once in a blue moon, we make a video that's a bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then anything that's not fun, it's like how long are you going to continue doing it? There's certain things that some of us will, we're willing to sort of like sacrifice the fun factor on certain things.
Sure.
In the short term to enjoy like a long-term gain. But when it comes down to it, are you going to do anything that lasts a lifetime that's not fun? Probably not. And if you do, it's going to be hellacious. I can only think about, you're just much more inspired to do stuff when you're having fun.
And I think there's different levels of fun because let's say you join an aerial dance class or an aerial circus. Like I'm thinking about this because it's actually, I don't know about popular, but it has a somewhat of like a popularity in Boulder, Colorado, where we are, is this like circus performance aerial dance thing. So, the first month you are going to hurt so bad. Your body's going to hurt so bad because if you can imagine what it takes to be like in a circus and do like what do you call it, where you swing on the acrobatics and stuff. So a lot of it is like you're hanging on these ribbons and stuff, and you have to, the first month is like, it's kind of like this boot camp, and that shit hurts. From the friends that I've talked to have done it, like it's not what you would call an enjoyable process, but once they get past that, then they're able to like fly across and glide across the room, and it looks effortless.
Yeah.
Maybe not after a month, it still takes longer, and I'm looking at the things that I've done where, maybe I gave up too easily because I was frustrated with something. And then, I think that anytime you're going to try something new or go through something new, you're going to have failure. And Tracy Walker talked about this last night. She said, we've been taught in school, in our educational system, this is, I think, is at the core of really, this could be at the core of why people don't take action when you really look at, being raised in an educational environment where you're taught that failure is wrong and bad. You are disconnected from failure as part of the learning process. Mm-hmm. So when you raise your hand, what is the teacher looking for?
The right answer.
The right answer. What happens when you get the answer wrong?
You might get made fun of by your classmates and stuff.
First, the teacher's going to go, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
That's not it. And I remember kids getting in trouble for questioning things, or having their own opinion about, okay, well, I know this fact, but I also think this. And they were doing their own critical thinking, getting in trouble for that. And then when you get a job, and I've been in this situation, and you almost can't, it's like, have you ever had a job where you're wrong if you do it right, and you're wrong when you do it wrong, and you're still wrong when you do it right. Because the manager's always looking for a hole in what you're doing. And then maybe sometimes you've been in a position where you did better than the manager, or you outperformed somebody. So then you were still wrong for outperforming people. So, you know, it's like, this is what oftentimes we come into a business with. We have an entrepreneurial heart, but employee programming. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I just went on a rant. And okay, so Brandi, I'm just gonna read Brandi's comment. She said, I've had the problem where I'm afraid to speak both because I'm afraid of what people will think, but I'm more afraid of my own voice powers, working on that through my videos. So Brandi, do you have a question around that? Oh, you're afraid. Okay, so afraid to speak. Interesting that you, okay, yeah, so it's like, what would you say, you know, what have you made, I will ask you a question, what have you made wrong about your own voice and your power? Or what have you allowed somebody else to make wrong with your voice or power? Because, for example, if, you know, you spoke in your power at some point in your life and somebody made you wrong for it, or like they felt bad, so they tried to make you feel bad, and you aligned with that somehow. And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna like dim it down a bit. You know, you spend your life avoiding that type of judgment and those types of people, whatever that person represented or that archetype. So somebody asked the question, where did you guys post the links for the capture pages when you guys started?
I know what he's asking.
Okay.
So yeah, so switching gears a little bit, you know, Caesar's question is yeah, where did you guys post the links for your capture pages when you guys started? So there's something that I would change in the question itself, but just for anybody that's watching that doesn't know the context for this, what Caesar's really asking is, how did you get more leads for your business? Another way to put it is, how did you get more traffic?
Gotcha.
How did you get more traffic and eyeballs to your capture pages, which basically means your offer or your product, no matter what it is. Right? So that's like the specific question.
Right.
Now, the thing that I would tweak in this question, because the question reads, where did you guys post the links for the capture pages when you guys started? I would adjust this thinking a little bit, and I am having to make a little bit of an assumption because we're not sitting here speaking face to face. But the assumption of where do I post my capture page links is one that can come across very spammy sometimes.
Right.
Right? Because if you're just looking for places to post your capture page links and get more leads for your business, you're going to be seen more often than not as a spammer.
Right,
okay?
right.
So I'm going to make a small adjustment to this and actually ask a better question, I think, which would be, how do you get more traffic to your blogs, videos, and other web property so that you can get more leads and sales in your business? Because that's really what it is.
Right. And I would say, you could even ask, how do you get highly targeted leads to your capture page?
Even better.
You know, how do you get highly targeted leads to your capture page? Because, like, you know, you can put go nuts, you know, and be posting your links in some forum, you know, or some people think, if you ever look at somebody that's like a celebrity that has like millions of followers, like Tyrese is one of those guys that's really active. Yeah, don't worry about being a beginner, because this is actually a question that a lot of people have, and a lot of people, you know, I think sometimes the word spam can be thrown out and people feel accused. Spam can just be when you're not aware of your target market and your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when people are, maybe they're like I don't know if afraid of learning is the right thing, but they're gun shy about really diving into the training that they require. Like, it seems like a quick fix. Let me just post my links everywhere. And that actually doesn't really work. And it doesn't really work in the long term, in the big picture. So, and actually, Caesar, it's great that you're asking this in the beginning right now, because it's much worse for us, you know, to work with somebody that has been spamming for a year, for example, and they're wondering, like, well, why my business isn't working? And it's almost like, it's a little bit of like spinning your wheels, I think, when somebody gets into that habit, and it becomes like this habit, you know, and it can be like harder to break. So I think you're just here at like the perfect and the right time, and I'm just really excited. So yeah, how do I get highly targeted leads?
Yeah.
Into my capture page, and Avram, can you explain what highly targeted is and what it means to really have your customer avatar and stuff?
Yeah, I can talk about that. That kind of threw me off because I had something I wanted to say.
Okay, sorry.
But and what I wanted to say and then answer your question is the right mindset that you need when you start a business on the internet, like the one that we've started, which starts the blog, right? So if you're watching this and you're not a part of our team, you're not, you don't have your own blog yet, definitely click the button below this video to get started and get your own blog, and then get plugged in with us and whoever invited you here tonight. And we can start teaching you some of the skill sets that go into building a business on the internet. But the right mindset should always be, right, because a lot of people struggle with this, is how can I get more quality traffic to my website, my videos,
right,
and my capture pages? So Nikki's question about like, well, what is highly targeted traffic? Well, I'll give you an example of what it's not.
Which is what I actually was talking about, and then I went on a different direction. Yeah.
So I'll give you an example of what it's not. So let's say you're selling fishing equipment, okay? A good place to go sell fishing equipment, okay, would be on an online internet forum about fishing, right? Or it would be at like Dick's Sporting Goods, right? Those are places where people that are looking for fishing equipment are going to be hanging out. You know, blogs or Facebook groups or Google Plus communities that are all into fishing, you want to find out where those people are. You can go to Google and find out, you know, fishing websites, fishing directories, fishing clubs, like all this. You can find out everything that you want to find out about fishing and go find the fisherman. Okay, that's where you would want to be. Now, where would it not make sense to go? Like a My Little Pony forum, you know, or a forum about Barbies, right?
Right.
Totally different audience. Fishermen and women and people that are into Barbies and toys.
You know, speaking of that, we're going to little kids, so let's just think about a lemonade stand. And let's say you put up a lemonade stand in the summertime and it's really hot, where you know there's going to be, actually in our neighborhood we have, the people like to get to know each other, so once a month they have like this food truck kind of party thing, and they have a few food trucks in the park in the neighborhood, and you know, people come and hang out. So in the summertime, let's say I had a lemonade stand, because there was a food truck, there was no lemonade, there was nothing to drink. So there's a need there, and then I'm going to supply that need. Who doesn't want some, you know, ice cold beverage in the summertime? Now what would happen if right now it's, you know, 0 degrees outside and I went on a corner and set up my lemonade stand? People would be looking at me not only like, I don't want that, but they'd be like, she is a damn fool standing out there. Nobody here wants lemonade right now. You know, so that's just something to keep in mind. And I think, like I was talking about Tyrese, who's got millions of fans. You know, I'll go on his page and, you know, there'll be like 2,000 shares within less than half an hour sometimes on something. It's really crazy. He's got a lot of interaction, and every 100 posts or something, or every 1,000 comments, someone will be like, make money online, arrow, 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 and they'll like post their link. And I can guarantee you that there are very few people that will click on that link, and that even if they do, it is completely untargeted. It's not qualified. It's like at some point, you get to this point, the saying is, if you try to market to everyone, you market to nobody. If you try to market to everybody, you market to nobody. So that's something that you got to keep in mind. Again, sometimes people think, well, if I just cast my net bigger, it's going to be so much better. But when you do it too big, that's another way that people look at you like, oh, that's a spammer right there. So know that I'm not preemptively calling anybody a spammer.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help people be informed about the perceptions that are out there. And so much about marketing is perception. You know, you have to position yourself, you have to, and it doesn't matter where you are, you can position yourself. And there's more information about that in the products, in the actual our products. You know how to
like, for instance, Viral Blogging Academy,
right,
15K Formula.
right.
Those are two places you need to go and look at the information to find out more about where you can go get traffic, like the sources and how to find them, how to keyword your stuff, how to put your lemonade stand, so to speak, in the middle of the food truck party where everybody's desperate and they're dying of thirst. They need your lemonade, right? Yeah, it's like when I think about like the lemonade stand, like if this were a cul-de-sac, this was the entrance to the cul-de-sac, and then the houses are on the outside, right? The best place to put the lemonade stand is here on the corner, right? One of the corners on the main street. But if you put it at the back of the cul-de-sac, it makes no sense. Nobody drives by, right? That's why like they say that Starbucks and McDonald's, maybe both of them, they're really in the business of real estate, not fast food or serving drinks, right? They're actually in the business of real estate because they're in the best positions of any sort of establishment that's out there because there's already traffic. They're just plugging into the source and they're getting customers. And that's what you can do with the stuff that we're kind of talking about. We're giving you the theory, which is actually the most important part, because if you know the theory of and the mindset behind like going and getting traffic and thinking about where people are actually hanging out, it's not hard to find the places where people are hanging out when you know what to look for. And that's sort of like what we just gave you.
Right. So, you know, what would you say to Caesar? Like, what does he need to do to find out, though, where he needs to promote his link?
You need to get all in and buy the products.
Yeah.
Because that'll teach you a lot more about this stuff than we could possibly even cover in just like 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And there
from people that are better than us.
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, yeah, people who are, I mean, you don't have to be the best to make 6 and 7 figures. Of course, I'm not guaranteeing that, but we've done it, you know, made almost $300,000 with the system, and we came in as newbies. You know, we don't have experience in this industry. So that's how powerful the educational products are. And we always teach people the authentic part. I think that's one of our strongest messages and strongest messages in our team. And, you know, we've had people that, some of them, you know, it was just a stepping stone, and they ended up like becoming 6-figure. They went from having like a 5-figure, you know, yearly income with their coaching business to 6 figures and traveling the world, you know, traveling every single month and living their dream. So, so yeah, it's, you know, I think it's kind of a rabbit hole when it's like, I mean, we could be here all day going on about where you can post your stuff. But I think, Avram, what you said is important. It's the question isn't just where do I post my stuff. It's, you know, where is going to be the most effective place? What is the most effective way for me to get quality leads? And the thing is, Caesar, if you're, for example, not active on Facebook at all, you haven't been, or you just have 100 friends, or, you know, as far as using social media, like you would have to build up a social media, you know, following and expand your network if you're going to promote on social media. So for example, I see a lot of people go, oh, well, gosh, I guess I can promote my links on Facebook. So they're just going to start posting their links on Facebook. But remember that nobody really cares about you. They care about themselves and what's going on with their problems. So that's one tip I can give you, is that, you know, start speaking your vision and start speaking to the people who are like you. You know, those are your low-hanging fruit, are the people who are like you. And you have to start authentically talking to them from your heart, whether through video or all your posts, you know, your blogs and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I have for right now. It's a good place to start. You know, you do have to go within yourself. This isn't just, you know,
paint by number.
You have to, the more, and even our friend Aaron Rashkin, who's a millionaire in Power Network, says this. He's like, the more you know yourself, the more you will know your audience. So, and that's also what the inner circle is for. And there's also a audio by Peter Sorensen that tells you how to come up with the funds in creative ways to get all in.
Because some of you have been here for a while,
right? And
you're not all in, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. It's sort of like, you know, trying to run a marathon with one leg. You know, or some people I think have made a decision perhaps in their mind that they actually that they can't get all in. or that it's so far away.
Right.
And that's exactly what's stopping them from excelling.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's some people that think they can do it without getting all in, and that's interesting.
Well, and yeah, it's kind of like saying I want half of a bachelor's degree I'm a medical student, and if I just complete half of the education, I can still get by and still become a doctor. Like, it actually doesn't work that way. Would you want a doctor to perform surgery on you? A surgeon to perform surgery on you, they're saying, I'm a surgeon, and they're supposed to complete like how many years of school? It's crazy. It's like 20 years of school or something.
School, and then they got to do stuff in the hospital, and
all that stuff. They have to invest a lot of money. So imagine they completed half of their education and said, it's just too much money. There's no guarantee I'm going to make money. I'm just going to start my practice now. And you knew that getting on the table, that they only did half of their shit and they're going to perform surgery on you. Would you want that surgeon? No, you wouldn't. You would be screaming, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I need another surgeon. So you have to embrace that you are learning to become an internet marketer. Now, that doesn't have to be your entire identity.
Correct.
For me, becoming an internet marketer is a stepping stone. It's an empowerment that allows me to live my dream and supports my other dreams. So when I publish my children's book, I'm going to be ahead of the game because I know stuff about marketing that most people don't know. And nobody's going to be able to come and quote me and rip me off. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to be able to be like, oh, I got this marketing package for you. I can do this, and it's $100,000 or $50,000. I'm going to be like, that is or is not going to lead me to the result that I want. Mm-hmm. For example, any sort of products that we create on our own, we are empowered to be able to market that on a whole new level. I know people in Empower that have had other doors open to them, like being offered, hey, some people are like, I'm totally an entrepreneur. Some people are like, wow, this is an incredible opportunity. Like they got offered some crazy 50 grand a month kind of salary to consult on some big corporation social media. And it was worth it for them. They took it. So, to learn this stuff is an invaluable skill right now that can open many, many doorways. And why would you only want a 10th of the education or a quarter of the education or half the education? And now here's the thing, getting all in is the all be all end all answer. Some people get all in, they don't do anything. They do nothing. So it has to be a full-bodied, embodied decision, embodied choice, that getting all in is also symbolic of, this is me choosing this with 100%. There is no, is this going to work? If this is going to work, I am going to make this work. I'm going to make this work.
There's the people that spend a lot of time doing all the right things and not getting the results. It's cool when those people finally get all in, because sometimes those are the ones that end up like really exploding. And
we've seen that happen many times. People who were inspired, who are like, I'm already taking action, and then they get all in. It's like there's like this overnight switch, cool, because you can't say that you're fully invested if you're not fully invested. Mm-hmm. Now, Brandi asked.
So we'll take one. We're gonna jump to Brandi. Yeah. I'm gonna say if there's any other questions, ask them now, or we're gonna be finished here, I think, with Brandi's question, and then we're gonna call it a night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So last call. Why don't you go ahead and read Brandi's thing?
So Brandi says, thanks for the question, Nikki. So I asked her about has anyone made you wrong for your voice, but thanks for your question, Nikki. Now that I think about it, honestly, I can't remember where I made or someone else made it wrong for me to speak out. But I did realize that it's more the aftermath that could happen after speaking out, like facing rebuttals or what I can deem to be negative comments. I'm afraid to face and worry sometimes about having to answer to critics or having an answer to critics. So this is interesting because now I'm not saying you gotta dig deep into your childhood right now or anything like that. it's like, wow, this is kind of like a huge download for me because there's so many aspects to this.
Like there's definitely something here.
Yeah, but like, if you're worried about the aftermath of speaking out, then are you really okay with speaking out? You know what I'm saying? In the first place. Like if you're totally okay with you, then you're not thinking about what somebody's gonna say, what other people are gonna think. Now it's a journey. I'm not saying that I don't have days where somebody says something and it bothers me. Now, I am thinking of, so it's cool that you said, I honestly can't remember, because just because you can't remember it doesn't mean that it's not there. But just know I'm not trying to project to you that it is there. I'm just saying, can't remember. You're acknowledging you can't remember. But gosh, it's tough because I'm not talking to you right now, because there was maybe a question I would ask you. But I am thinking of my friend Marie Forleo. She actually did a video on this recently, and she said that one of the things that she said, and it actually helped me too, is that, and it's like some people are commenting stuff like, wow, Marie has fake hair. And she's like, these are people who went out of their way to subscribe to my list, to receive the content that I'm sharing, the quality content. And the only thing they're commenting about is she got fake hair. And then somebody else was there, oh yeah, her hair is so fake. So in the video, it was really funny. You know what she did? She had her assistant come. So she's sitting there like this, and she had her assistant come and go like this through her hair, and like where you could see all of her hair, and prove that her hair is actually, she was like, sorry, I was born with this. You know what I mean? So she kind of played with it. Sorry, Avram, your hair is amazing.
Thank you.
So she played with it. But she was addressing the issue as a whole. And she said, here's the thing. Some people have very low emotional IQ. Like they have very low emotional intelligence. And that's not a criticism, that's just a fact. These are the people that will go and what we call like troll the internet. Like they don't have anything better going on. They're not happy in their lives. They're not inspiring anybody. You know, there's like a density, a vibrational density going on. And so it's like, imagine somebody sitting there. They're like Jerry Springer style. They're like the kind of person that would be on the Jerry Springer show. I'm just saying, just play with this. Imagine somebody like that, and they're sitting there in their trailer, and they've got cans of Coca-Cola all around because they drink 20 cans of Coca-Cola today. And they took some Prozac, they took some other drugs. So they're actually like on drugs, you know, and then they're like, I don't like what this Brandi has to say. She's stupid. Look at her hair, it's so dumb. And it's like, are you gonna let that kind of person, are you gonna let that troll stop you from making the difference that you came here to make? So there's that person being like, that's so stupid. In the meantime, what if that video saved somebody's life? What if somebody watched that video? And I've had this happen before. I was going to commit suicide until I watched your video. I mean, I had a video.
One of those too.
Yeah, and you've had that. And you know, it's like I had a video we put out where someone said, her face makes me want to barf.
Oh, that was crazy.
And it's like, does that person feel good about themselves?
Hell no.
Right. So here's the thing. You have to know, just like you wouldn't take advice about money from somebody that's like really broke, living on welfare. Would you take advice about money from a homeless person?
Who's never done anything.
Who's never done anything. No, you would not. You wouldn't stop on the street, slow yourself down, and take advice from that homeless person. Okay? Now, I've actually taken some advice from homeless people, but that's a whole nother story.
About different things.
About different things. So I'm not saying that they're worthless or anything like that, okay? I actually have a love for homeless people. But I do.
Well, it just sounds funny when you say it.
I've had some very magical, mystical experiences talking to the homeless.
I know.
But I wouldn't go and ask them business advice. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for you to like listen to someone who's going to make a comment that's like really mean like that, it's like, first of all, you have to get like, who are the people who are like worth listening to? So actually they're just not worth listening to about your content. Yeah, I'll check out Marie's video. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks since I watched it. Let me know if you can't find it, Brandi, because I'd be curious about reposting it too. But
I just have one thing to add when you're done.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then the other thing is, you don't have to answer to critics. Who says you have to say anything? Who says you have to say anything? And sometimes they're just trying to get under your skin because they're not willing to contribute to society in any fucking way. You know, like, I'm sorry to say, but there are just some people like that out there. And so when they see somebody contribute, even just contribute, you ain't even making money yet, but they're just mad and like maybe even jealous because they're just angry at their own life. Now, here's the thing, though. You never know what kind of seed you're planting for this lifetime or another. So they might get mad, but then 2 years later have an epiphany. So, Avram, what were you going to say?
Mine's quick. I feel like you might have something to add to it. But I've had similar perspectives before. Actually, like this kind of perspective, it doesn't stop coming up. There's not like a time where you start thinking, where you don't stop ever thinking about what somebody else might think. Like that's just always going to come up, but in varying degrees. So it's like when you reach a certain threshold, you're okay with everything that you've just gone through, like that level of critique and criticism. Yes. But then when you want to go from here to here, you have to go through it again.
Yeah.
And it's like a different varying intensity. And the one thing that I wanted to share was that, because I've done this, is you're here and you want to go here, but you're afraid of what people might say or how they might react, but you go through the actions anyway. What happens is you feel like you're spinning your wheels here because what you're doing is you're actually spending a lot of energy energetically trying to not be seen by like the critics or the people that are going to make fun of you or say something bad or whatever it is. And the thing is like when you try to keep certain types of people or things or situations out of your life, you end up screening out the good stuff in your life too.
Oh, that's a good way to put it, yeah.
Right.
A dam is a dam. A wall is a wall. Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I would probably look at too is, you know, if you're willing to let go of the perspective that the hammer may fall or that people might say stuff or what they might think might affect you or whatever that is, right? Then what would happen in your life, in your business, in your relationships, etc. Because I just get the sense that knowing what I've gone through and been in those similar situations, I know that I personally used a lot of energy trying not to be seen by the world. And we're really good at putting up walls and barriers and stuff. And it's funny that whenever I've sensed any of those walls and barriers around putting like a certain video up, I put it up. And it's weird. You know, normally I'll put up a video, I'll get like 80, 150 views like that day on YouTube. And I'll put up that video and it'll get like 15. And I'm like,
15 what?
Views.
Oh, okay.
You know, and you're like, whoa, like that's really different than the norm. Well, got a lot of weird stuff around putting this video up. I actually don't want people to see it.
Right.
And, you know, subconsciously, and so then they don't. So that's just my tidbit that I wanted to add that I felt like might be helpful.
Yeah, and there was something else I had. Let me see if I can remember it. About facing critics. Well, I think it's one of the biggest things that hold people back. Is hiding from judgment, you know? And, oh, here's what I was going to say to you, Brandi, and to anybody else listening who has this issue going on. They are judging you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You've already been criticized. You get criticized every time you put a video out.
Or post.
Some people just don't say it, but they're always judging. It's just a human habit that people have gotten into, you know, and it's our media too that perpetuates it. Like we think it's like our job to like just go around judging people. So it's like you've already been judged and you're still here. You didn't die. Nothing happened to you. you're still inspired to put out cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the other piece is like, the only time that people really affect you with their negativity, in a way that's more than just like, oh, that's annoying, and then you move on with your day, but like you can't stop thinking about it, is that there's something there for you. Either way that you judge yourself, or some way that, you know, another way of saying judge yourself is like maybe something you refuse to be, you know? And so it's like sticking you. So in that sense, a judger or someone who's going to criticize you with negativity can also be a gift. Can also be a gift, because if it brings up supercharge for me, then I know that there's something that I need to look at there. There's something that I haven't resolved within myself. You know, like for example, if somebody were to be like, well, you know, I saw your video, but then I saw your capture page. It just felt so salesy and phony to me. And if that was something I couldn't stop thinking about for a few days, all day long or a few days, I would be like, wow, is there somewhere that I think I'm phony?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm being called out, because that's actually what I think about. Not because it's what I'm doing, but it's actually what I think I'm doing. There's somewhere where I think I'm being fake or phony or not of integrity, you know? Or maybe there's a place I'm not being of integrity and I'm judging it as bad. And the thing is, you can't change something that you're judging. Like have you ever tried to, you know, judge your spouse or your partner into changing?
Good luck.
Criticize their way that, you know, criticize them into changing. That shit never works. Then you become the nag. So, you know, you can't be a nag on yourself either. You got to find a way to go, okay, this is what's going on for me. So in that sense, can you see how even the haters can actually be like one of the biggest blessings to come into your life? Because they're going to show you some wounds. They're going to show you where you're wounded.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we appreciate you guys for coming and asking questions, hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you, Brandi and Caesar.
You guys are awesome, and we'll see you next week, same time. Probably a different topic, maybe not even a Q&A, maybe not even a Q&A. Perhaps we'll have a guest. You'll find out next week. And if you haven't gotten started with us, click the button below, get your own blog, and get plugged into our powerful mastermind community. We're going to take off. We're going to have a good night. Hope you do too.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.